best friend, this might be a little different for both of us as we talk about this, but I've found as I, heal from old relationships that I'm scared of new relationships because I don't know how I'm gonna act. I don't know how I'm going to respond in healthy environments because I was previously conditioned, right? I flourished in toxicity with people, men, women, all types of relationships I conditioned. I learned to survive in those relationships, right? I learned to get beat up emotionally and suffer in silence. I learned how to allow people to cheat on me and manipulate me with their so-called forgiveness. I learned how to sacrifice myself in order to please other individuals in those environments, among other things. So when I get in this space and this time with God and I say, okay, Lord, do what you've been always wanting to do, which is heal me, bring wholeness to my life, right? Wholeness to my emotions, wholeness to my thought process, wholeness to my physicality, man, wholeness to how I even operate and move, right? My whole entire presence. Wholeness in general, right? So I get into that space with God, and then when God released me a little bit and say, you know what, you can have some relationships, some basic level relationships. Let's see how you do. Then I find myself going back into my shell, like, I'm scared. I don't know, Lord. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't want them to hurt me. I don't want this. And I think that a lot of us are not having healthy relationships because we're so traumatized, or we remain traumatized by old experiences, right? And so one thing I'm learning in this season, that when I go into this space, this era, this time with God of wholeness and to be delivered from my trauma, I have to leave it there. I'm going to say this for somebody who ain't paying attention right now. Best friend, look up, listen, look up, listen to me. We got to leave our trauma there at the feet of God. Now, I'm not saying ain't going to be a little bit of residue, a little shell shock that's going to happen, and we're going to have to go back to God. I ain't saying that. What I am saying is some of us are literally being in these seasons of wholeness with God and literally taking the entire memory, the entire experience back out of that season with God that was supposed to be peaceful, that was supposed to be healing, that was supposed to be freedom, and we come out into this new environment that God said we can have, and we bring in old trauma, old memories, old behaviors, old moments of crying, old all this other stuff into this new season, and we wondering why God says it's a new season, but we don't feel like it. That's because we carrying around stuff that He told us to leave at His feet. And so I learned that this season, Tashombi, leave it there. I know I ain't gonna know what it's gonna be like when I leave this season with God. But matter of fact, I ain't never leaving this season of wholeness with God, because this is an ongoing process. So at this level that God let me, allow me to have healthy relationships, right? To start over, I have to learn to, when I leave and get released to be able to do these things, right? In my own comfortability that God says I can, then I got to learn to not pick this stuff back up. And I got to learn to stay in partnership and commune with God and say, you know what, Lord, I stuck my pinky toe out and I'm still scared. Where do I need to work on this? As I continue to progress and finding these healthy relationships and being present in these healthy relationships, right? A lot of us don't take God along with us, right? When we start these relationships again, we just jump head first. And we wondering why we are being triggered by simple things, simple conversations we're having with individuals, right? Healing and wholeness is a process with God. So yes, are we going to still be a little sensitive? Are we going to still be a little soft? Yes. But that doesn't mean that we have to carry around the whole scenario, what happened. That don't mean that we have to overshare with the new best friend how our old best friend lied to us. We don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what we do. We get into these seasons and this time with God, and then we are so controlling because we feel like we got to take this with us in order for it to be a reminder on how to do boundaries, reminder on how to, fight people off. You know what I'm saying? We come out of that season of wholeness, guarded up, by trauma and not guarded up by God's strength and confidence that we can do this, that we can have healthy relationships, right? And I challenge you, as you're listening to this, and even into the week, the months, or whenever time you're listening to this, I challenge you to really check your security system. Is it built up by God? Is it built up, right? Do God got the passcode? Did he give you the passcode to the security system, right? You know what I'm saying? Did he set it up? You know what I'm saying? Did he set up the alarms and like, okay, daughter, this is how you're supposed to operate in this season, right? And this is how things are supposed to be. Or are you operating in this season with your passcodes, your security system that has been damaged, that has been broken into, that has been robbed, that don't function and malfunction every time you turn around? Your security, your emotional security system is going off when things are not wrong. You know, everything is great, copacetic, and your emotional alarm system is going off and you going into protection mode and ain't even no danger. How is your emotional alarm system? How are you operating in this time and space in your life? We have to be aware. A lot of us keep saying we going into this soft girl era. I'm a soft girl, soft girl. That soft girl era means that you have to take these broken pieces to God. And you have to acknowledge, first of all, that they're broken. And you also have to acknowledge your role in this brokenness, no matter how small. But we don't want to do that, though. We just want to look soft but don't feel soft, right? When people get close to us, they get to come in and try to interact with us and getting cut by our wounds and our brokenness that we ain't take to God yet because we feel like we can handle it. Listen, it's important that we be mindful of where we are, who we are, and who we're becoming. And the only way we can do that